Hello, my name is Kristina Crump. I am a consumer bankruptcy attorney here in Kansas. I also represent people in Western District of Missouri.
Hi, I'm Chris Coons. I'm also a consumer bankruptcy attorney.
I think today we're going to discuss a question of who decides what chapter bankruptcy you're supposed to file.
Yeah, this is a really interesting question because oftentimes people think that the attorney is going to decide what kind of bankruptcy that you file.
Now, there are some limits, income limits. So you might be making enough money or your income is high enough that you simply do not qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
But we're going to assume for the moment that you qualify for both. And an attorney, a bankruptcy attorney, told you that based on your income, you can either file a Chapter 7 or Chapter 13.
Yeah, so if you qualify for both kinds of bankruptcy, then there might be other considerations that push you to think about filing one or the other. But generally, we are not going to decide for you. Our job is to lay out all of your options in bankruptcy. And Kristina's right, like you might not be able to do a Chapter 7 bankruptcy because your income is high enough that you can't qualify for Chapter 7.
And that the only option is a Chapter 13.
That's correct. That's right, at least in the consumer sense.
In the consumer sense,
In the
correct.
consumer sense. So there might be considerations such as, are you behind on a vehicle payment?
House payment.
Are you behind on a house payment? These kinds of things.
Maybe you paid friends, relatives back.
That's right.
Maybe you expect more medical bills in the future.
That's correct.
There are lots of things to think about. I think the red flag will be if you're meeting with a bankruptcy attorney and they're telling you that you should do one and not the other, perhaps. I'm not sure if I'm phrasing it correctly. I mean, sometimes there's clearly a better option on one versus the other.
Yeah, I will absolutely, and I think you do this as well, we'll suggest a course of action. But I very rarely say you cannot take a course of action unless you're legally prohibited from taking that course of action. Now, I may tell you that you cannot do something you want to do in a case because there's no money to do it. So if somebody comes in and they have a vehicle they want to retain, and the payments on the vehicle are $1,000 a month, and I do a budget for them and they only have $300 a month to go towards that vehicle, then I can't promise them they can retain that vehicle. I can't promise them that I'm going to be able to make that work. The vehicle may simply cost too much money, and there are a lot of cases where I can't push down how much we have to pay on the vehicle. We have to pay what's owed on it in some cases. So I may tell you, well, you can do a 7 or you can do a 13, but I also may give you the additional information that I don't think there's a way for me to save that vehicle because there's so much money owed on it.
I think kind of the main point of this is that your bankruptcy attorney has to go over all options available to you in bankruptcy in detail, and you should always ask questions. Sometimes our clients think they know what they would like to file. I mean, we have these phone calls that say, hey, I want to file. I know I need to do a Chapter 7. Well, guess what? You still have to suffer through hearing me explain you options about Chapter 13 as well, because we have to.
Yeah, when your attorney signs the petition, your attorney has to basically say, I have explained to my client their options in bankruptcy. And even though we're consumer bankruptcy attorneys and we limit our practice to Chapter 7 and Chapter 13, there are also Chapters 11 and Chapters 12, which are not going to apply to 99.9% of the public. They're simply not going to be applicable. But they're out there, and we talk about those briefly. But most importantly, we don't want to limit people's options by failing to disclose some other thing they might be able to do. If you have any questions about bankruptcy, please contact us. We'll see if we can help you out. If you need to stop creditor calls, harassment, collections, lawsuits, repossessions, garnishments, or foreclosures, please give us a call. Consultations are free.